Hi,
Shalom,
this is Hannah.
and this is Naftali.
The older Sarvas campers probably still remember us. We used to live in Hungary, and about 16 years ago we made Aliyah. We moved to Israel, and now we live in a small but beautiful village called Mitzpe Yeriho.
Actually, Mitzpe Yeriho is not that small anymore. There are about 500 families living here.
And don't forget that a family here means 5, 6, 7, 8, or even more children.
That's right. So though most of the families here are Israelis, but the place is becoming increasingly popular amongst new immigrants.
So on the streets of Mitzpe Yeriho you can hear English, Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, Finnish, Greek, Danish, French.
Hé, és a magyart elfelejtettétek.
Oh yeah, and of course Hungarian.
Let's see where Mitzpe Yeriho is situated.
This is a map of the land of Israel. Here is Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, the capital city, Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth. And Mitzpe Yeriho is situated halfway between Jerusalem and the Dead Sea, surrounded by magical sites like Qumran, where the famous Dead Sea Scrolls were found, or a bit further down Ein Gedi, huge waterfalls, or a bit up north is Kasr al-Yahud, where the Jews entered the land of Israel for the first time with Yehoshua bin Nun about 3,300 years ago.
This is a real biblical landscape.
Yeah, and it's not far from the civilization. Probably might think that it's an isolated village, but it's not. Jerusalem is about half an hour driving, and even Tel Aviv, it's only an hour, provided there are no traffic jams.
That's right. And Mitzpe Yeriho has its own institutions also. There is a big and very famous yeshiva, a place for higher Jewish education, where students from all over Israel are learning. There are also 2 schools for boys and a school for girls. There are kindergartens and also a nursery school. There are playgrounds and 12 synagogues and also a mikveh.
Actually 3. We have 3 ritual baths, one for men, 1 for women, and 1 for dishes.
Yes, that's right. And there is also a wedding hall overlooking the beautiful desert view. And a tourist village is being built right now.
And a brand new swimming pool, but enough talking. Let's go and see everything.
Let's go. Okay, now we showed you where we live on the map. Now let's check it out in reality. Behind me, the town of Mitzpe Yeriho. Behind that, the Dead Sea, the Jordan Valley, and the town of Yeriho. Over there, you can see the fortress of King Herod, the Kypros, and below that, a deep valley called Wadi Ket that we'll show you in a few minutes, and then the beautiful desert view leading up to Jerusalem. Below, there is the highway number 1, which starts in Tel Aviv, passes by Jerusalem, and of course Mitzpe Yeriho, and arrives at the Dead Sea.
The story of Mitzpe Yeriho began in 1977, only 10 years after Israel liberated this piece of land, which in ancient times was a border area between the tribes of Yehuda from the south and Binyamin from the north. And by the way, when the Beit HaMikdash, the temple, still stood in Jerusalem, and on Yom Kippur they sent the scapegoat to the desert to atone for the sins of Israel, they went up to the high mountain called Azazel, which is right there. So getting back to our story, in 1977 a group of idealistic and young people got together in Mishra Adumim, not far from here. Today it's a flourishing commercial and industrial area, and they decided that the time has come to establish Jewish communities all around here. So they established Mitzpe Yeriho, and then Kfar Adumim, Alon, Nofei Prat, Anatot, Michmash, and so on. And don't forget the city. We have a regional center here called Ma'ale Adumim, a real city with 40,000 people. Behind Ma'ale Adumim, you can already see Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, our holy city. You can see the Mount of Olives and also the tower of the Hebrew University.
Talking about nature around Mitzpe Yeriho, we have to mention mountain biking, which is a very popular sport all over Israel, and our area is a paradise for the mountain bikers. If I'm just sitting here on a Friday morning, I am sure that someone will show up on a bike in a few minutes.
What did you just say? Mountain biker? Here I am. This is a big advantage to live in the desert, that this is our backyard. So anytime I want to just ride my bike, it's just right here. But this place is so popular that people are living very far away places like in Haifa, Netanya, in the Golan, are ready to get up 4 o'clock in the morning to drive a couple of hours just to ride their bikes right here. Though in the summer they're not coming. Those months only for us locals because the weather is extremely hot here. But from, let's say, October till May, people are just flocking here to ride their mountain bikes. So next time you are coming to Israel, don't hesitate, get a sturdy bike, lots of water, and explore the land on wheels.
And now, let's go for a walk in our little village. We are standing at the main square of Mitzpe Yeriho. You know, this is a small village, so we don't have as many tourist attractions as you saw in the videos of Vienna, Budapest or Leipzig. But still, we have some interesting places that we would like to show you. As a religious community, the synagogues are very important for us, and we have quite a few of them that we would like to show you. It's very interesting that many of the synagogues here in Mitzpe Yeriho have playgrounds right next to them because we are really blessed with a lot of children. We would like to show them to you. Come with us.
Now we are in the largest synagogue of Mitzpe Yeriho, the Central Ashkenazi Beit Knesset. Here, community prayers, minyanim, are held from the early morning hours till late in the evening. And also, there are many Torah classes here. The first one starts at 5:30 in the morning with the Daf Yomi Shiur. People are learning the daily Talmud page. And there are many more other shiurim classes till late night.
As I said, the synagogues in Mitzpe Yeriho have playgrounds attached to them, so that when the children feel that the prayers are a bit too long for them, they can come out, play, and refresh themselves.
Now we came to the Beit Knesset Hasfaradi, another large synagogue in Mitzpe Yeriho, where the customs of the Northern African and Middle Eastern Jews are kept. The specialty of this place is that they start the morning prayer every day at a different time. The reason for that is that they want to make sure that they reach the main prayer, the Shmona Esrei, exactly when the sun comes up. So in the winter, every day, they start a bit later. For example, today they start at 5:40 in the morning. Tomorrow they will start 41 or 42. And in the summer, they start every day a bit earlier.
And as we said, it is just not possible to have a synagogue without a playground. So here, near the Sephardi Beit Knesset, there is also a nice playground for the children to have fun. Although we are a small community, we do have memorials in Mitzpe Yeriho, even 3 of them. Let's visit the monuments of the village.
This is one of the memorials Hannah just mentioned. It was built by a grieving father for his son, his only child, who fell as a soldier in Lebanon in 1982. His name was Chaim Bar Natan, as you can read up there, says Yad Lechaim. It has a double meaning, as the word Chaim means also life. So this is a memorial for Chaim, for his life. The father planted many trees around the memorial. Today it's a nice park, and even though he's not with us anymore, the memory of his son still stays with the community.
Here we are at another memorial, which was built for the founding fathers of Mitzpe Yeriho. It's called Mitzpor Rishonim, which is a play with two words, Mitzpor, that means a lookout, and Rishonim, that means first. It's also dedicated to the memory of Harav Meir Kahane, who had the vision of repopulating by Jews the city of Jericho, and all the surroundings of it. And it's also named for Harav Meir and Sarah Zev, founders of the Yishuv, and all the other founding fathers.
This is the third monument in Mitzpe Yeriho. It says Havered Halavan, the white rose, memorizing the Weiße Rose group, which was a resistance group in Nazi Germany in 1942 and 43. It was established by university students in München, and they spread counter-propaganda against the regime. Unfortunately, they were arrested by the Gestapo. Two of the leaders were executed by guillotine, and the others were sent to prison.
The newest feature of this place is a brand new and amazing swimming pool. Don't leave us before jumping into the water. Here we are in front of the swimming pool. I can't go in because it's men's hours now, but I think my husband is inside. Let's check it out.
Hi, so we are here in the swimming pool of Mitzpe Yeriho. I think this is one of the greatest spots in this village. It's amazing, it's brand new. It was opened only a few months ago after decades of dreaming, planning, building, and getting all the permissions. But it's ready and it's really nice. We have this huge pool and small fruit cutters, a big grassy area, ping-pong tables, ice cream. So it's really, really fun. We are a religious community, so on Shabbat this place is closed. And also we have separate hours for men and women. Very important fact is that, as I mentioned, we live in the desert, so the actual swim season is very long. Today it's on the last days of September, but as you see the sun is shining, it's over 35 degrees. So we are here swimming and having fun.
There is another very important topic here, and it is building. There are two reasons for that. One is that there is a general housing shortage all over Israel, and young couples are struggling to buy their first apartments. The second is that we have to strengthen our presence in the Judean desert, and building is the best tool for that.
As Hannah said, building is extremely important for us. That's why we are very happy that a new and big building project is underway in Mitzpe Yeriho. This is only the first phase, 100 units, but we have more empty land here, so building will be continued in the future. This time, as you see, 4-story houses, not the usual private houses with gardens. It means that more people will be able to settle in this place. One row is already occupied, the other one is being built, and these houses have beautiful view because they are facing the Dead Sea. And we are very excited to greet the new residents of Mitzpe Yeriho. Hopefully they will move in a couple of months.
We would like to show you a very interesting phenomenon, how observant Jewish life influences the architecture. As you can see on these newly built houses behind me, the porches are not one above the other. The reason for that is the Sukkot holiday, when we are commanded to build tents, Sukkot. One of the most important laws is that nothing can be above the sukkah, not even a porch. In this way, all the families can build their own sukkahs. Okay, you already have a general picture of our village, And now, take your boots, take a bottle of water, and join us for a hike to see the beauty of the nature around Mitzpe Yeriho.
Here we are. Our first stop is at an amazing lookout at the edge of the village. From here you can see the Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth. And behind the sea, we will find Har Nevo, a mountain where, according to Jewish tradition, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our master, was buried by God. You can see Yericho, the most ancient city on earth. And this was the first city that was conquered by Yehoshua bin Nun and the children of Israel after 40 years of wandering in the desert. Behind me, in clear weather, you will find Harei Moab, the Moab Mountains. To visit them today, you need to cross a border to the kingdom of Jordan. But actually, that land is also part of Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, as the tribes of Reuven, and God settled there after they helped the other tribes to conquer the whole land of Israel.
Can you see this strange mountaintop over there? This is actually a fortress built by King Herod about 2,000 years ago, and it was part of his defense system on the eastern borders of Israel. And there is another mountain over there to the north, which is called Har Kochav. It is situated near another Jewish village called Kochav HaShachar, and it had a very important role in the times of the second temple, second Beit HaMikdash. When the new month began, the main court in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem, would announce it, and then they started to light fires on the highest mountaintops to inform the Jews living far away and outside of Israel at that time already that the new month has begun, and so that they would know when to celebrate the holidays. And now, let's go down into the desert and visit a deep valley, Wadi Ket. You might think that the desert is a dead and empty land, but the truth is really far from that. There is a very rich wildlife in the desert, flowers during springtime, springs and streams all over, and lots of animals like jackals, gazelles, wolves, foxes, falcons, scorpions, and all kinds of other animals. Near Mitzpe Yeriho, there is a famous tourist attraction, which is called Wadi Ket, or Nachal Prat, cutting through the desert from Yerushalayim up until the Jordan River, right before it flows into the Dead Sea.
So, let's go down and see Wadi Ket.
We have almost reached the bottom of the valley, but let's stop for a minute to admire this amazing monument behind me. Actually, it's an aqueduct which brought water from the springs around Yerushalayim to the Kypros fortress. It was built probably by the Hashmonaim, you know, the guys from the Hanukkah story. Others say, and probably they are right, it was built later in the Umayyad dynasty, about 1300 years ago. It's only a part of the whole water system. If you hike around, you can see remnants of it. Sometimes it's another stone structure. Sometimes it's a long channel hewn into the rock, which goes through the mountains.
Water in the middle of the desert. We have reached the bottom of the valley and we can find water here. You know, this is a real miracle because now we are at the end of October, the driest days of the whole year. The last drops of rain fell about 6 months ago and the new rainy season has not started yet. And yet we can still find beautiful, nice clean water here in the middle of the desert. And you know, this is not the whole story. Because very close by, there is a waterfall that we would like to show you. Let's go.
here we are at the waterfall. Which is not very strong today because this is a very dry season. But you can still admire the beautiful and crystal clear water of the Judean desert right here in Bálint.
So cool!
You can rightfully ask, how come that this is a desert? So close to Jerusalem and not so far from the sea? The answer is that this is something which is called rain shadow desert. So we live in the shadow of the rain. The humid air coming from the sea reaches Jerusalem. The Jerusalem mountains, which is very high, can reach up to 900 meters. So the humid air is rising. It loses its humidity. Rain starts falling, and when it reaches the other side of the mountain, it's already dry. So here we have only 100 or 200 millimeters rain a year, which means desert.
As you see, the sun is setting behind the mountains. Shabbat is starting, so we are saying goodbye. We hope that you enjoyed our tour in Mitzpe Yeriho, and see you after Shabbat for Hávdálázzunk.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. After a fulfilling Shabbat, with lots of time spent with the family, we have assembled to say goodbye to the Shabbat Queen. Most of the children are too shy to be shown, but trust me, they are here. We are parting the Shabbat with a ceremony called Hávdálázzunk, separation. First, we read a few sentences from the Bible, and then we make a blessing over the wine, the good-smelling incense, and the light of a braided candle that has at least 2 wicks. At the end, we bless God, who separates between light and darkness, Israel and the nations, Shabbat and the 6 days of labor.
הנה ישוע שבטך ולא יפחד, כי עוז יבזים רוסיה, אדוני ויהי לילושוע, שבתם ממים בסוסון ממען ישוע, לאדוני ישוע מחובי חוסך חוסלו, אדוני צבוי סימון ומזגבלון ואלוהי יעקב סלו, אדוני צבויס אשרי עודו מבויתך בוך, אדוני הושיעו המלך יעננו ויום קוראנו. ליהודים הוי סויר ושמחה וששון וכל כן תהיה לנו, כויס ישועס אסו השם אדוני יקרא, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בוירא פרי הגופן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בוירא מיני בשמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בוירא מאוירא האש. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המבדיל בין קודש לחול, בין אוי לחושך, בין ישראל לעמים, ביום השביעי לששת ימי המעשה. ברוך אתה אדוני, המבדיל בין קודש לחול. It is customary, right after Hávdálázzunk, to sing a song about Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet. According to tradition, he will announce the coming of the Mashiach, the Messiah, hopefully already this week. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu HaTishbi, Eliyahu HaGiladi, במהרה יבוא אלינו עם משיח בן דוד, במהרה יבוא אלינו עם משיח בן דוד.
Thank you for joining us. Have a great week. שבוע טוב.
שבוע טוב. שבוע טוב.